Dublin are back into the All-Ireland semi-final of the Football Championship after a 21 points to 10 win over Cork here at Croke Park. Not the most entertaining game you'll ever see. Cork in the second half very much faded away, as they had against Kerry in the Munster semi-final. Just weren't able to muster a charge, and I think Dublin going on a run of being accurate with their first 10 shots in the second half, which was a spell of more or less 34-35 minutes. They were just unerring with their shots, and just Cork at the other end, very wasteful, taking on shots that weren't there, running down blind alleys, getting turned over time and time again. Over the course of the game, Dublin had 29 shots and they scored with 21 of them. The other side, Cork created 28, so pretty much the same, and scored just 10. So very, very poor in terms of scoring efficiency there. 1 point for Dublin is that they didn't create any goal scoring opportunities here. Now, they didn't need them, obviously, to get across the line against Cork, but against better teams, Division 1 opposition that they'll obviously meet in the next round, whether that's Kerry or Mayo, they're going to need to do a little bit more than they did in this game here. And I suppose not having Conor O'Callaghan and James McCarthy is going to be a huge factor in why you're not creating those goal scoring opportunities, because they are line breakers. Number one, James McCarthy is going to burst through the centre and create 2-on-1 opportunities. He'll look for the give and go, and he's generally a man who'll do the right thing when he has possession going in towards the D. Conor Callaghan is a player that if he's 1-on-1 or in a 2v2 inside, he's huge danger. If you get the ball into him, he's turn and go at his man, and once you have a line break, then you're up and running. And that's something that Dublin just didn't have today with Cormac Costello, Dean Rock and Paddy Small inside. Now, Small won a few frees, and he got himself a point from play. Cormac Costello scored the first point of the game and tested out his marker at times, who was Kevin O'Donovan. But that forward line, that inside forward line, just is not the same without Conor O'Callaghan in there. Dean Rock got a mark towards the end of the game, but all of his other scores, and obviously that is a placed ball, but he won it himself, so you'd have to credit him there. But other than that, it was 8 frees that he scored, not massively impacting the game from play. Kieran Kilkenny scored 3 from play, so he obviously, but for long periods of the game, he wasn't really in it. Brian, a lot of the players on the Dublin side, you could say that about them, like even Brian Fenton, he got 2 quick points midway through the second half, but he was rather quiet other than that, and that was the story of Dublin. They didn't need to be all that, I suppose they didn't need to be taking over the game in the manner that they would have against a better opposition, because they were always just coasting along against this Cork team. And to be fair, it was 7 points to 10 at half time. Dublin weren't well ahead, and actually, funnily enough, that song Human from Rag and Bone Man came on at half time. Maybe the people in charge here at Croke Park were having a bit of fun that maybe the Dubs are human after all, but Cork just never kicked on after the break, and they had to wait until well into close enough to the hour mark before they scored in the second half, by which stage Dublin had scored 6 points, and it was completely game over at that stage. So without James McCarthy and Conor O'Callaghan, who were injured at times during the league, this had a Dublin league team feel to them. And obviously Dessie Farrell's men got relegated in that particular competition. They'll have to do an awful lot of work in the semi-final against Kerry or Mayo if they're going to kick on from here. But I suppose, to be fair, they did what they had to do. They're through to the next round. For Cork, disappointing season, obviously very difficult, losing their manager Keith Ricken due to health reasons midway through. John Cleary had to take over. Some players did themselves credit. Cathal O'Mahony did a lot of good. 1 or 2 others, but they just, in terms of like decision making, they just have a long way to go before they get up to the coaching levels of Dublin. They're just a long way off at this stage, even though some of their players are quite good. It's just running down blind alleys and getting turned over just really costs them.